Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? I announced the time change in the last class. I don't know who was there, who wasn't, but it was announced. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? There people are still coming. Uh, for those of you who have just come, uh, there's been a time change here. So the class was an hour earlier. Instead of 1 o'clock, it was, actually at 12 o'clock, it was 1 o'clock. So anyway, this goes on twice a year, and there's always twice a year this problem. I announced this in the last class. I guess maybe some of you weren't there or you didn't know about this. I think in Europe and the Middle East, the time change is the 26th of March, where it'll go back and it'll be the same as it was before. But right now, it's going to be 1 hour later, or 1 hour earlier. I don't know. Anyway, check it on Google and you can find out exactly what the situation is. Does anyone have a question I would like to ask? I've said it a number of times. It really is worth saying again. The end goal of this meditation is an open heart, love, and, because that really is, when you get down to it, the highest level of attainment on the earth is an open heart, it's love, and it's the pathway to enlightenment. But as I've said many times, it's very difficult to just open one's heart. We're so used to living in a kind of a whirlpool of emotions and mental activity, sexual activity, that opening the heart by itself is a very difficult thing. It opens, it closes, it opens, we're very happy, it closes, we get depressed. So it's really over time that we need to build a system inside that is strong enough to keep the heart open. And that's what the meditation class is all about. Happy people are enlightened people. People that can live every day with love, with their hearts open, with joy inside them. People that truly have learned how to deal with whatever situation comes along as an opportunity to grow in their lives, from the good to the not so good to whatever it is. It becomes an opportunity. We have gratitude for whatever comes forward in our life because it gives us an opportunity to grow. It's just another way we're being taught by God or higher energy. And it takes time and a lot of development in a human being to truly recognize this and not be freaked out when negative things happen, and to say, okay, what is this teaching me? What do I have to do to grow, to get stronger than this, to use this as a tool to open to a higher force of energy in the universe? I've been writing all these things I'm on my 35th one. I think we've only published or put on my website 20 of them or 21 of them. But what I've learned really is Tantra is just change. Tantra is transformation. And the meditation we practice in its own way is like tantric yoga because it's all about transformation and change. And, after writing all these articles, I began to realize the profundity of what we do because, it really brings into our consciousness the most profound, the most mystical, the deepest human levels of understanding, of growth, of developing ourselves as human beings, of getting closer to God, because we are willing to transform the blocks and the limitations inside ourselves that keep us from doing it. I mean, that's all this meditation is about. It's not about me being a guru and being holier than thou and everybody worshiping. It's a bunch of baloney. It's about each and every one of us undergoing that kind of profound transition in ourselves, where we can recognize this incredible temple we live in called life, and how it is constantly teaching us what we must know in order to grow and to become one with God, constantly teaching us. Now, of course, most people don't have any kind of inner development that allows them to recognize this. So it all goes past them. It's like a rock in the middle of a river, the water flows right past. Nothing is absorbed because they don't have the training, the inner development, the capacity to recognize this incredible river called life that is providing us with things that we need to know and learn to grow and become closer to God. Now, we don't have to be a rock in the middle of a river. We can change. We can change. We can open inside. We can transform ourselves. We can break down the blocks and the limitations in ourselves that are keeping us from truly embracing a higher force of energy in the universe. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask? I mean, these classes are not about religion. They're not about psychology. They're only about transformation and change, breaking ourselves down, getting through the blocks, the tensions inside, so that we can open our hearts. We're not afraid to open our hearts and be happy people. I mean, there's no greater gift on the earth. And that's all this meditation is about. And once that gift is received and absorbed and obtained inside us and we can live with it, I mean, it opens up the door, the pathway that goes directly to spiritual enlightenment. Freedom. There has to be a reason why we were born here. And I certainly don't think we were born here just to make money. I really don't believe it's too crazy, We're not born here. but we're born here to learn whatever life requires of us to grow every day of our lives. That's what we're born here to do, to transform the suffering and the difficulty to a spiritual life. If you don't transform it, then it transforms you into a really unhappy person. It's like my teacher Rudy said. I said it before, I'll say it again. He said, we suffer like schmucks, so we suffer with consciousness. And, I mean, why does one have to suffer like a schmuck if they have a meditation technique that can teach them how to transform all of the blocks and tensions that are creating the suffering in the first place? Then it's a matter of doing it. That's why I have these classes every week. I need to do it also. I can't take for granted the fact that I am an enlightened person. I don't even think about that. I take for granted or nothing for granted. I just say I've got to do my inner work and continue to grow every single day of my life. Everything else, it just goes right to the grave, goes right to reincarnation and doing all this nonsense over again. That's where it goes. Does anyone have a question? Okay, for those of you who came late, I'm sorry. I try to notify everyone. I did in the last class notify everyone. But, the class is, it's an hour later actually than it was. Or an hour earlier. I don't know. Anyway, it's 1:00 and here it was actually 12 o'clock. That became 1:00. So it's an hour earlier. So try to make it on time, and God bless you all. And I just have tremendous gratitude to have you all here and doing the kind of work you're doing on yourself. And by being here, being present here, it really makes demands on me. And I love those demands. I need those demands in my life. And I'm very grateful to everybody. Thank you. God bless you all. And I really hope that everybody is benefiting from this the same way I'm benefiting from it. It's a miracle. So bless you all and thank you. And there'll be a class on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.